Been me, 32F, Director of Human Resources, work for a massive logistics conglomerate. We are the invisible arteries of the economy. Auto parts, grain, pharmaceuticals. If you bought it, we probably trucked it. Revenue is in the billions. But the culture is stuck in 1987, brown carpets, migraine-inducing lights, and a management style best described as benevolent feudalism. I was hired to fix this. Masters in Organizational Psych. I don't see myself as HR. I'm a change architect. Been grinding for 18 months to drag this dinosaur into the modern era. My office is an oasis in a desert of beige. I've already implemented Meatless Mondays, rebranded the Christmas party to Winter Solstice Inclusive Mixer. Marketing is now 90% diverse hires. Productivity metrics are hard to quantify, but the vibe is immaculate. Except for one tumor in the building, a stronghold of the old world that refuses to die. The basement, technically server operations and legacy infrastructure, located on level B2, past the boiler room and janitorial storage. A literal dungeon. No windows, concrete walls, air conditioning set to Arctic blast. It is the domain of the old guard, 3 men who have been here since the company was using fax machines and typewriters. They are the gatekeepers. Rick 59, lead systems architect. Gary 56, database administrator. Bob 63, network engineer. They are untouchable. Every time I try to schedule them for a microaggression awareness workshop, Rick replies with a one-line email. Critical uptime requirements. Declined. They don't participate in the culture. They don't use the preferred pronouns in their email signatures. They don't even have signatures, just their names in Courier New font. They are dinosaurs. And last week, I decided it was time for the meteor to hit. I initiated a comprehensive equity and compensation audit. My goal was to find pay disparities in the warehouse staff, but what I found in the IT department made my blood boil. I accessed the executive payroll node using my override credentials. I pulled up the files for Rick, Gary, and Bob. I literally gasped. Rick, $195K base salary, senior executive bonus structure, approx $40K per year, plus stock options. Gary, $182K base salary. Bob, $178K base salary, benefits package. Legacy Tier 1, 100% company paid healthcare for family, 8 weeks paid vacation. Defined benefit pension plan, which we stopped offering to new hires in 2005. I did the math on my notepad. Combined, these 3 men are costing the company nearly $750,000 a year, $750,000. To sit in a basement? I looked at the market rates for senior developer in our area. Average is $100K. They are being overpaid by almost double. It was the most egregious example of the old boys club I had ever seen. Resources being hoarded by entrenched white males while I have to fight tooth and nail to get approval for a $500 budget for a lactation room. I decided I needed visual confirmation. I needed to see what $750,000 of labor looked like. I grabbed my clipboard, visual prop for authority, and took the elevator down. The elevator only goes to B1. You have to walk down a concrete stairwell to B2. As I descended, the temperature dropped noticeably. The air smelled of ozone, burnt dust, and stale coffee. I swiped my badge at the heavy steel door marked Authorized Personnel Only. It beeped green. I walked in. The noise hit me first, a constant low-frequency drone of hundreds of cooling fans. The room was a maze of black server racks with blinking green and amber lights. Cables ran along the ceiling like colorful snakes. In the center of the room was a glass-walled enclosure. The fishbowl. This was their office. I marched up to the glass door and pushed it open. Rick was leaning back in a Herman Miller Aeron chair that looked 20 years old. He had his eyes closed and large noise-canceling headphones on. His feet were on the desk, right next to a half-eaten sandwich. Gary was reading a physical newspaper. Bob was at his desk, peering through a magnifying glass, tying a fly fishing lure. Not one of them looked up when I entered. The disrespect was palpable. I cleared my throat, loudly. "Gentlemen." "Nothing." "Excuse me?" I said, sharper this time. Rick slowly slid one ear cup off his head. "You're letting the conditioned air out. Close the door or come in. No hello, no good morning. I stepped inside and let the door hiss shut. I am conducting a departmental workflow audit, I announced, projecting my voice. I need to know what current projects are in flight. Bob didn't look up from his fishing lure. Woolly bugger, he mumbled. Green and black. Bass love 'em. I am referring to company work, Bob. Rick spun his chair around slowly. The system is green, isn't it? Excuse me? The dashboard. Rick pointed to a monitor on the wall. It showed a map of the US with little green dots. All dots are green. That means the trucks are moving, the scanners are scanning, and the invoices are printing. If the lights are green, we are working. So you're telling me, I said, checking my clipboard, that the company pays you nearly $200,000 a year to watch a screen remain green. We aren't paid for what we do, lady, Gary spoke up from behind his newspaper. We're paid for what we know, and for what we can do when the light turns red. That is an antiquated labor model, I retorted. Modern agility requires active contribution, sprints, stand-ups, deliverables. Rick laughed, a dry, rasping sound. We don't do sprints here. We run a marathon that started in 1998. The AS400 doesn't care about your agility. It cares about stability. Now, unless you have a support ticket regarding your email signature, please vacate the secure area. You're raising the ambient humidity. I stared at them, the arrogance, the absolute, unearned confidence of mediocrity protected by tenure. I turned on my heel and walked out. I was shaking with rage by the time I got back to my office. They were mocking me. They thought they were indispensable. I was going to prove them wrong. The strategy, I spent the next week building my case. I pulled their ticket metrics. Between the three of them, they closed maybe 5 to 10 tickets a week. Most of them were labeled system maintenance or batch oversight, vague, unverifiable. I compared this to our Tier 1 help desk team, mostly fresh college grads making $45K. They closed 50 tickets a day each, password resets, printer jams, software installs. The data was damning. The old guard was doing 1% of the work for 500% of the cost. I created a presentation deck, title, Operational Velocity, Transitioning Legacy Debt to Cloud-Native Agility. I loaded it with buzzwords, synergy, scalability, OpEx reduction, modern tech stack. I scheduled a meeting with David, the CFO. David is 55, drives a Porsche 911, and cares about exactly one thing, the bottom line. I knew he was part of the old boys club, but I also knew his bonus was tied to operating profit. If I could show him savings, he would eat his own young. I walked into his office on Thursday morning. David, we have a financial hemorrhage in the IT department. I handed him the spreadsheet highlighting the salaries. He whistled. Rick makes that much. I knew he was high, but wow. It's unjustifiable, David. We are paying 3 men nearly $1 million a year to maintain a system that should be automated. Rick built the WMS, Warehouse Management System, David said, tapping a pen on his desk. He knows the code better than anyone. He knows old code, I counted. COBOL, RPG, languages that are dead. David, it's 2025. We need Python. We need React. We need AI-driven logistics. These men are holding us hostage with obsolete knowledge. I pulled up the slide showing the potential savings. I can fire all 3 of them. I can hire 3 junior full-stack developers, hungry, bright, modern kids, for $60K each. We can move the infrastructure to the cloud. Total annual savings, I pointed to the bold number, $600,000 immediately. Plus we eliminate the pension liability. David stared at the number. I saw the calculation happening behind his eyes. $600K in savings meant his quarterly report would look phenomenal. Are you sure the new kids can handle it? He asked. The warehouse logic is complex. David, code is code. I laughed, a confident, dismissive laugh. It's all logic. The new generation grew up coding. They are digital natives. Rick types with 2 fingers. Who do you trust to take us to the IPO? David nodded slowly. Do it. But make it clean. Use the restructuring clause so we don't get hit with an age discrimination suit. I walked out of his office feeling like I was floating. I had won. I was going to scrub the basement clean. The purge. I waited until Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., standard HR tactic to minimize workplace disruption. I called them up one by one. Rick was first. He shuffled into my office, looking annoyed at being summoned. Make it quick. The backup tape cycle starts at 3:30. I need to mount the reels. You won't need to worry about that, Rick. I handed him the folder. As of today, your position is being eliminated as part of a strategic corporate restructuring. Rick froze. He looked at the paper. Then he looked at me. For a second, I saw something like fear in his eyes, but it vanished, replaced by a cold, hard look. You're firing the team? We are transitioning to a modern infrastructure model. Rick let out a short, sharp laugh. Does Sterling know? The CFO authorized it. Rick nodded slowly. He took a pen from my desk and signed the separation agreement. You realize, he said, voice quiet, that the documentation for the AS400 bridge is non-existent? It's all custom logic. Gary wrote the routing tables in 1999. We have competent engineers coming in, I said breezily. Code is self-documenting. If it's written well, we'll be fine. Rick stood up. He looked at me with a mix of pity and amusement. You're cutting the brake lines on a semi-truck because you think it will make it go faster. I think we'll manage, Rick. Please leave your badge on the desk. He dropped the badge. It made a plastic clack sound. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Gary and Bob were next. Bob actually thanked me. My wife has been begging me to retire. I'm gonna buy a boat. Gary just grunted, signed, and walked out to have a cigarette. By 4 p.m. they were gone. I stood at my window and watched them walk to their cars. Rick drove a beat-up 2004 Ford Taurus. Bob had a truck. They drove away. I felt a massive weight lift off the building. The patriarchy had been evicted. I immediately posted the job requisitions. Wanted? Full-stack ninjas. React, Node, Python, AWS, disrupt the logistics industry, high-energy culture, ping-pong table. The applications flooded in. The new guard, I didn't hire for years of experience. That was an archaic metric. I hired for potential and culture fit. I wanted people who looked like the future. By Wednesday, I had my team meet the Cloud Squad. Tyler, 24, bootcamp grad, specializes in JavaScript, wears a beanie indoors, lists crypto enthusiast on his resume. Sasha, 23, degree in digital media and interactive code, very bubbly, focuses on UI/UX. Liam, 25, self-taught hacker, claims he uses Arch Linux, talks a million miles an hour about optimizing the stack. Combined salary, $185K. I had saved the company massive amounts of money. I took $30,000 of the savings and renovated the basement. We ripped out the grey carpet and polished the concrete. We installed standing desks. We bought 5 oversized beanbag chairs. We installed Philips Hue lighting that shifted colors based on the time of day. We put a $3,000 Italian espresso machine in the corner. The big ugly servers, the AS400 and the mainframes couldn't be moved. So we put up tasteful Japanese shoji screens to hide them. They're such an eyesore, Sasha said, wrinkling her nose at the beige metal cabinets. Bad vibes. The first month was the honeymoon phase. The Cloud Squad was amazing. They were friendly. They came to the mixes. They joined the Slack channels and used the custom emojis I made. Sasha redesigned the internal employee portal. It used to be a grey list of hyperlinks. Now it was a sleek, responsive dashboard with gradients and motivational quotes. The VP of marketing told me, "This is incredible. We finally look like a tech company." I felt vindicated. I was writing a LinkedIn article in my head, how I fired the past to hire the future. Everything was perfect. Crack 1. The printers, it started in week 6. The logistics coordinators started complaining. They couldn't print to the Zebra thermal printers in the warehouse. I went down to the basement. The vibe was chill. Lo-fi hip-hop was playing. Tyler was spinning in his chair. "Hey guys, what's up with the printers?" Liam looked up. "Oh yeah, the print server was running Windows NT 4.0. That's literally from the last century. It was super insecure. So I wiped it and installed Linux." "Okay, so why aren't they printing?" "Driver incompatibility." Liam shrugged. "The printers are old. They don't have Linux drivers. I'm writing a wrapper script to emulate the PCL language, but it's tricky. How long will that take? Maybe a week?" "A week." We shipped 4,000 packages a day. For a week, the warehouse staff had to manually handwrite shipping labels. Trucks were delayed. Drivers were screaming. We paid $15,000 in overtime. But eventually, Liam got it working. Mostly, I framed it to David as growing pains associated with security hardening. He bought it, crack 2, the scanners, week 8. Hank, the warehouse manager, called me. Hank is 6'4", ex-Marine, neck like a tree trunk. Ma'am, the hand scanners are lagging. Define lagging. We scan a barcode, beep, then we wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then the green light comes on. It used to be instant. I went to the cloud squad. Tyler explained it. So, the old code was using Telnet, which is like totally unencrypted text. Super dangerous. I routed the traffic through a secure WebSocket with 256-bit encryption and a cloud proxy. And that's slowing it down? Yeah, the round trip to the cloud adds latency, but it's secure. Hank says they are missing shipping windows because of the delay. Security has a price, Tyler said, sipping his espresso. Tell them to adapt. I told Hank to adapt. Hank told me to go to hell. We missed 15% of our shipments that week. David called me into his office. Why are we losing efficiency? We are modernizing the stack, David. The old system was held together with duct tape. We are building a fortress. It takes time. I held my ground. Crack 3, the payroll glitch. Week 9. The warehouse workers didn't get their overtime pay. Turns out, the time clock was a legacy application running on a server Gary used to maintain manually. Sasha had cleaned up the database and accidentally deleted the overtime calc stored procedure because she thought it was duplicate code. We had to cut 400 manual checks. Morale in the warehouse was plummeting. But the office looked great. The portal was beautiful. I kept telling myself, innovation is messy. The catastrophe? Week 10. End of quarter. This is the Super Bowl of logistics. We have to execute the quarterly inventory reconciliation. It balances the books, generates the massive invoices for clients like Walmart and Amazon, and resets the inventory counters for the new quarter. If this doesn't happen, we can't ship new product because the system thinks the warehouse is full. It relies on the big iron, the AS400 mainframe behind the shoji screens. Friday night, 11:30 p.m. The batch job is scheduled to run at midnight. I am at home, asleep. My phone starts buzzing at 12:15 a.m. I ignore it. It buzzes again and again. I pick up. It's David. Get to the office, now. His voice is shaking. I put on a tracksuit and drive in. The parking lot is full. This is bad. I run down to the basement. The scene is pure chaos. The cloud squad is huddled in the corner. Tyler is crying. Actually crying. Hank is standing by the servers, holding a wrench, looking like he wants to end someone. David is pacing back and forth, face pale as a sheet. The room is silent. The hum of the fans is there, but the rhythmic chugging noise of the mainframe is gone. What happened? I ask. Sasha looks up, mascara running down her face. It made a noise, she whispers. The big machine. At midnight, it started making this loud screeching sound, like a siren. So we got scared. We thought it was overheating. We pulled the power plug. My stomach drops through the floor. You unplugged the mainframe? During a batch process? We plugged it back in. Liam yells defensively. But it won't turn on. It just blinks A900 on the little screen. David walks over to me. He grabs my arm. Do you know what A900 means? No. I just got off the phone with IBM Level 4 support. It means head crash, because they cut the power while the drive head was writing data. The physical needle crashed into the magnetic platter. The data is physically scraped off the disk. Okay, I stammer, heart racing. Okay, that's fine. Restore from backup. Silence. Absolute, heavy silence. Everyone looks at the corner of the room. There used to be a tape drive there. A big, ugly beige machine that accepted magnetic reels. Where is the tape drive? I ask. Liam looks at his shoes. We moved it to storage. Storage? We threw it in the dumpster. Tyler sobs. It was huge. It was taking up space for the beanbags. We didn't think we needed it. We have the cloud. You have the cloud? David screams. The mainframe isn't connected to the cloud. It's an air-gapped system. The only backup was the tape. We didn't know? Sasha wails. Hank steps forward. I have 500 trucks lined up outside. I have $40 million of perishable food on the dock. If I don't get a pick list in 6 hours, that food rots. Walmart will sue us for breach of contract. Amazon will delist us. David looks at me. His eyes are dead. We are looking at a total loss of operational capability. We are blind. We don't know what we have, where it is, or who owes us money. Fix it, he hisses. Call them. Call the old team. The begging. I run to my office. My hands are shaking so bad I drop my phone twice. I pull up old contact list. I call Rick. It goes to voicemail. I call Gary. Voicemail. I call Bob. Bob answers on the second ring. Yellow. I hear seagulls. Wind. Bob. Bob, it's me. From HR. Who? The HR director. Look, we have a code red. The AS400 is down. Error A900. Head crash. Bob whistles a low, long sound. Head crash during a batch run? Oof, that's catastrophic. You fried the partition table. Yes. Can you come in? We need you to rebuild it. Can't, Bob says cheerfully. I'm in the Florida Keys. Just ordered a margarita. Salt on the rim. Bob, please. I will pay you double, triple. Sorry, darling. I'm retired. You made sure of that. Remember? Strategic restructuring? Bob, the company is going to fail. You have those smart kids, right? The ones who know Python? Let them code a new mainframe. Click. I dial Rick again. He answers this time. What? His voice is cold. Rick, please. We are dead in the water. The data is gone. The kids threw away the tape drive. Rick laughs. It's the most terrifying sound I've ever heard. I told you, he says. I told you exactly what would happen. Rick, name your price. Anything. $1 million. I can get David to sign it. I don't want your money, Rick says. I'm sitting on my porch at my lake house. I'm watching the sun come up. My blood pressure is down 20 points since I left that basement. Rick, there are families. 2,000 employees. They will lose their jobs. Yeah, Rick says softly. I know. You fired 3 of them 2 months ago. Did you care about their families then, or did you just care about your slide deck? I start crying. Rick, please. You broke it, Rick says. Don't call me again. He hangs up. I sit in my office. The sun is coming up. I feel small. I feel like a child who burned down the house because she didn't like the wallpaper. I go back downstairs. The CEO, Mr. Sterling, has arrived. He's a terrifying man. He wears a tuxedo. He must have come from a gala. He is standing in the middle of the basement. He looks at the dark servers. He looks at the cloud squad who are sitting on the beanbags looking at their phones. He looks at me. Report, he says. One word. David speaks up. Total data loss, sir. Recoverability is 0. We cannot bill. We cannot ship. We are effectively insolvent. Cause? David points a finger straight at me. She fired the legacy team. She replaced them with this. He gestures to Tyler, who is wearing a t-shirt that says Code Blooded. She claimed the old system was obsolete. She claimed she verified the redundancies. Mr. Sterling turns to me. His face is stone. Did you verify the redundancy protocols before terminating the senior staff? I thought the cloud... Did you verify? No, I whisper. You prioritized ideology over functionality, as Sterling says. You dismantled the engine of this company because you didn't like the way the mechanics looked. He turns to the head of security. Escort her out, and the 3 children. Immediately. But my things, I start. Your things are company property. You are terminated for cause. Gross negligence. Legal will be contacting you regarding damages. 2 guards grab my arms. They march me out, past the warehouse workers who are staring at me, past the reception desk, out the back door. I stand in the parking lot. I try to unlock my car. My key fob doesn't work, because it's a company lease, and the asset management system is dead. The car thinks it doesn't exist. I have to call an Uber. I check my phone. My LinkedIn notifications are blowing up. People congratulating me on my modernization initiative. I throw my phone into a puddle. I scream. Nobody hears me. The aftermath. The company didn't survive. Not really. They missed shipments for 3 weeks. The stock tanked from $85 a share to $12. They were acquired by a competitor for pennies on the dollar. The competitor fired almost everyone. I got sued. Breach of fiduciary duty. I had to declare bankruptcy to get out of the legal fees. I lost my condo. I lost my car. I moved back in with my parents at 32. My mum keeps asking, but you have a master's degree. Yeah, Mum. A master's degree in hubris. 6 months later, I finally got a job, assistant manager at a hipster coffee shop downtown. It pays $16 an hour plus tips. I wear an apron. I serve oat milk lattes to people who have real jobs. One Tuesday morning, the door opens. It's Rick. He looks different. He's tan. He's lost weight. He's wearing a nice linen shirt, not a polo. He walks up to the counter. He looks at me. He recognizes me. He doesn't say anything mean. He doesn't mock me. He just smiles. A genuine, pitying smile. Rough landing? He asks. I feel tears stinging my eyes. I can't look at him. I didn't know, I whisper. I know you didn't, Rick says. That's why we were paid the big bucks. To know. He orders a black coffee. He puts a $50 bill in the tip jar. Keep the change. Put it towards a coding class. He walks out. I watch him through the window. He gets into a brand new Mercedes. Bob is in the passenger seat, laughing. They drive off. I turn back to the coffee machine. It starts making a hissing noise. Steam shoots out. My boss, a 22-year-old dropout named Zach, yells from the back, "Hey, fix the machine. We have a line." I stare at the machine. I don't know how to fix it. I grab a rag and start wiping the counter. "I'm trying," I whisper. I will never touch a server again, and I realize that the world runs on ugly, noisy old machines kept alive by grumpy old men in basements, and if you try to replace them with vibes, the world stops turning.